Today's episode is sponsored by Jane, a clinic management software and EMR. The Jane team knows that when your workday is spent providing care to your patients or clients, it can feel like there aren't enough hours in the day for the rest of your admin tasks. This can mean that scheduling appointments becomes after-hours tasks, turning what should be restful evenings into extra long work days. That's why Jane has designed user-friendly online booking, so you can give your patients the freedom to book their appointments at their own convenience, whether that's after hours or on weekends. Patients can also manage their appointments, fill out intake forms, and enable SMS and email reminders from their secure online portal, which saves you from having to manually do it. To see how Jane can help you reclaim your evenings and weekends, head to jane.app to book a personalized demo. Or if you're ready to get started, you can use the code WELLNESS1MO at the time of sign up for a 1-month grace period applied to your new account. Hi there, and welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. I'm Kendall Hagenson.
And I'm Anna Rudell. We're thrilled to have you join us on this journey of creating innovative, patient-centered wellness centers.
As experienced health and wellness providers, we've seen firsthand the challenges of delivering comprehensive, holistic care to our patients.
That's why we created this podcast, to share the knowledge, strategies, and insights we've gained from our own experiences and from connecting with experts in the field.
Each episode, we'll dive into a different aspect of building and growing a successful wellness center, from developing a strong multidisciplinary team to implementing cutting-edge technologies and treatment approaches.
We'll also share practical tips, resources, and real-world examples to help you overcome common obstacles and streamline your processes.
Our goal is to empower you with the tools and confidence you need to create a thriving wellness center that truly makes a difference in your patients' lives.
So whether you're just starting out or looking to take your existing practice to the next level, you're in the right place.
Get ready to learn, grow, and be inspired. Let's create something amazing together.
Welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.
Hi there, my name is Anna, and today we have a very special guest. His name is Gary Thorne. Gary, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to be doing what you're doing in this moment?
Perfect. Well, I'm a trained physio by background, and I've spent the last 20 plus years at the corporate healthcare level as an executive, doing everything from organic growth to inorganic mergers and acquisitions. My time in the corporate world ended a few years ago, and I knew during the time of mergers and acquisitions that there were so many companies that we had to say no to because there was no value that was created by the seller to the national strategic company that I was with. And I always knew that once I finished my chapter as an executive consultant, I would be going into the consultancy world where it was now just time to give back. It is this altruistic, how do we help the industry that's helped us for such a long period of time? And that's all done through knowledge exchange and practice mastery. And I've been doing Elevate Practice Intelligence for the last 18 months.
Amazing. We're so excited to chat with you. I'm curious, Gary, you have such a robust background and knowledge to share with our listeners today. Mm-hmm. If you could choose the top 3 competitive advantages any practice can have, what would you say those are?
Yeah, great question. Always the first competitive advantage that I believe any business can have is leadership. Leadership from how the leader leads themselves, the importance of that high EQ, the high in-service attitude to the stewardship that goes along with being a great leader, the visionary, everybody that leads with purpose and impact and values-based. It's really that leadership driven of self. And we're seeing more and more of that in the marketplace now with McKinsey and Forbes and all of the work that's being done on leaders how they lead themselves, the importance of that, because it drives the second competitive advantage, which is culture. It's the team that follows and really does do the majority of the work to enact the vision that is set forward by the leader. So how do you develop a values-based, performance-driven culture? How do you develop high team, high accountability, high fun, high purpose? That's into that second part. And then I think the third part of the competitive advantage is just knowing industry benchmarks. The industry benchmarks that are, whether it's labor spend as a percentage of revenue, all the way down to what your rent should be, et cetera, et cetera. So I think those would be the top three, but it's just leadership right now. Team that follows.
Gary, you're speaking our language. This is Kendall and I
Okay.
spend many hours speaking both about teams and leadership. So we appreciate your expertise as you're here. Do you have any tips for someone that might be growing their practice? Do you have a few tips for someone who's maybe starting out and wanting to grow their practice to achieve these benchmarks?
Yeah, 100%. And there's always, from a growth mindset, I think, first of all, I'll just preface it with, there are so many barriers that clinic owners face, and they're usually unconscious barriers, and it's like this immunity to change. And are they in alignment with things that they can see, things that if they're striving for a work-life balance, or they don't think they've got the right team? It's really discovering this immunity to change, or where the things are keeping practices stuck. That is the leadership journey that we spend a lot of time with owners on, this I want to grow, but I can't grow type of mentality. And then it's always growing into your capabilities. So it's a capabilities-driven strategy that you can grow into what your middle lane allows you to grow into, but also being mindful of the lane next to you that is driven into adjacencies for growth. The tips are always know your community and the competitors in your community better than anyone else. It's that knowledge of, where's your next hire going to come from? Where did your referral source go? Is there a new referral source? It is so much of that community and being the keeper of information that is going to allow you to be growing near term, but also long term. If it's from an acquisition, somebody selling, whatever the case might be. So those would be the tips for somebody that's looking to continue to grow their practice.
I'm going to rewind there, Gary. You were talking about middle lanes and next lanes over. Can you tell me a bit more about what you mean there?
Sure. So a capabilities-driven strategy that is middle lane is something within your current supply chain. So whether I'm doing chiropractic services, I might add physio, or if I'm doing traditional Chinese medicine, I might be purchasing or hiring for massage, those types of things.
Okay.
When I talk about, if I'm not talking about the vertical integration, I just talk horizontal. You might have something that's an e-commerce store that you're doing for distribution of product to complement services. Those are the sort of the adjacencies and the middle lane that you play in. So it's just really understanding the competitive advantage you have as a business and staying in your lane and finding growth there until you think you need to shift over one lane.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Okay.
Anna, I'm curious, as Gary was talking about, and we see this with our clients as well, and we've experienced this ourselves over the years, is there's always that point where you feel like you need to change or you need growth in your practice, but you feel like you can't for one reason or another. So I'm curious, Anna, what were some of those for you? What were some of those thresholds for you where you felt like, I need it to be different, but here's why I can't do that right now, or here's where I feel like I can't do that?
Oh, well, usually there's so much fear, isn't there? And that's usually financial. Like, if I don't see this number of patients in a week, then I'm not going to bring this money in. And therefore, by reducing my patient load, I may increase my hours to put somewhere else, but I'm not going to be able to do anything with that because I don't have the money to support it. I think that's probably...
Yeah, that's probably the most common, where people feel like, well, I need an administrative assistant, but I can't afford one, but I really need one. But where's the money coming from? And I think what I see a lot is And what happened for me, we create the business ourselves. So all the systems at first are in our heads, and we feel like, who else can do this? Right? Like, I feel like
No
I'm the
one
only
else
one
can do it, Kendall. No one.
no, no one. Right. And so that's a big stuck point for people too, is they feel like, well, I can't recreate this. I'm the creator of this, so no one else could do this in the way that I do. And I think the encouragement around that is, what are really the things that no one else can do on your team? Because there's lots of things that other people can do, but there's those certain little pieces of magic that only you can do at those different stages of the growth at the company. And that reality check of like, no, if we took the time and wrote these systems down and passed this off to someone, we would actually save money and we would bring in more revenue, and then we would be spending less time doing these things. And it's difficult. It's a difficult threshold.
Very much so. If I just added one last piece to it, I love what you're talking about with regards to the financial risk. I've got to treat. And that's just staying in your lane as a practitioner. And it's not allowing you sometimes, and more than often than not, the ability to grow as a CEO. We always talk about that leadership growth into the corner office. And it's understanding, how do I continue to work on the business and not always being in the business to mitigate financial risk. So it's a timing, it's a passion, it's a courage, it's everything that's tied into scaling a business. So love what you're talking about.
So Gary, it sounds like you have quite a bit of experience with buying and selling practices, or at least being part of those transactions. I'm curious what you would tell our listeners about, how to prepare themselves if they want to sell their practice someday.
Yeah, and it's a great question, and it's the number one reason why practices don't sell and they don't have an exit strategy. And it's that realization that you, as a business owner or a practice owner, have to have that 2 to 3 year runway to start planning your exit. And it's always starting with, who do I want to sell my practice to? Is it a national strategic? Is it a PE, a private equity firm? Is it a competitor? Is it a team member? And knowing how to prepare your business to sell to the buyer that you've chosen. And then everything else is normalizing your operations to drive as much cash to your bottom line over the next 12 months to 24 months. And we know in our history that we can drive 2 times EBITDA if we're given enough time. So if we can get a full 12 to 18 months working with a practice owner to remove them from the business, to make the business self-sufficient without the full vigor of the practice owner, we can typically drive 2 times earnings over that last period. So time is a big winner on this one. It's the biggest thing that we work with practice owners before we start exposing them to the open market.
What does that look like, Gary?
Oh, wow. So if we were running to the open market, or just the 24-month run?
The 24-month run. I'm curious, because acupuncturists have a heck of a time selling their practices.
Right. The 24-month run is really the understanding of, if I've got $1 million practice and I'm making 10% on the bottom line, how do I get another 100,000 to go to change my EBITDA to 20%? And it's removing a lot of the personal expenses that practice owners often run through their business as they're treating their practice like a hobby. They've got trucks and phones and other things that are being run through the practice that need to be normalized. We've got to make sure they're paying fair market rent. If they own their building, we have to make sure the owner is moving from 80% in the business down to 20% in the business. We're trying to take all of the risk off the table for where the buyer is looking for, or for what the buyer is looking for at the time of close. And the earlier we can start with a plan, it's financial right away, and then it's culture. The biggest thing that we find where we can win is labor, because labor is typically 60% of your expenses for a practice. Anytime that we can keep indirect and direct labor under 60%, then we know we've got a fighting chance to get 20% to the bottom line if other industry benchmarks fall in place with general and accounting and rent and things like that. So I hope that was a okay 24 months prioritization in 2 minutes.
Honestly, you've enlightened me in 30 seconds, because so many, I'll speak for acupuncturists, you see this practice on the market, but the owner is still in the business and it doesn't sell, and consequently I don't think many practice owners believe that there is a value to their business. Right. Is there even a potential to sell it? Because we don't have comps. We don't see practices actually being sold because there's no strategy. And what you're saying there is that you should have a clear strategy.
Clear strategy. And if I just took 30 seconds more, the single clinics that we see on the market now, they have this 10% of the asking price is typically what they're making in cash. So they're just saying 10% of what I'm making is EBITDA. But so many owners now are putting in 90% of intangible assets. So these are all your goodwills for location and patient lists and location and referral sources and processes, and a clinic that maybe makes 20,000 in cash is being offered for 180,000. So there is that understanding of what's the goodwill intangible assets that are available within my practice that I can use to create a price for a buyer to come in. We always encourage not to close and never use the term of your lease as a reason to close. You always try to sell your practice halfway through the term of your lease, so you've got consistency of cost and predictability of spend throughout the last couple of years.
Gosh, Gary, this is fascinating. I wish we had you for all the rest of the day, but we don't. So tell us a little bit more about Elevate.
Perfect. So Elevate Practice Intelligence, we have three main verticals. We have Start Your Practice, which is a vertical for the new to practice owners. These are the biggest challenge we've got in this vertical is practice owners write a business plan to get financing from an institution. Then the financial plan sits on a shelf and they have no plan to start the practice with. The second vertical is all about grow your practice, and that's the things that we've been talking about is how do you understand your challenges to growth if you're stuck, change, how to grow into new volumes. That's really the bulk of what we do is grow our practice. That's just the bulk of it. The third one is our sell our practice. So that's the how do we sell by looking at the financial, the operations, the HR, the college, all of the things that we're helping a practice owner prepare for as they know their exit. And in that, we also help buyers come to the table. So we find national strategics or PE firms to come to the table. And that's where our journey ends with we don't go into any brokerage or anything like that. We just get the table parties to the table and hand it off from there.
Gary, do you only work with practices in Canada, or do you work with practices from all over the world?
Currently, Kendall, it's Calgary or Canada based, and there are plans to go to stateside and also to other Commonwealth countries, especially England, Australia. Would be the three US, England, Australia, but for right now it's Canada based.
Great. Yeah. And it looks like you have giveaway for our listeners, an ebook or multiple ebooks. How can people find you and take advantage of those?
Right. So we put 3 ebooks together, and those are ebooks for that are both Start, Grow, and Sell My Practice. And we've also got lead magnets out now that are 22 essential industry benchmarks. Anybody can find me. They could come through elevatemypractice.ca to just do a quick consultation call, and we can send ebooks out. And the lead magnets will be up on the webpage. Again, elevatemypractice.ca. They'll be up on the webpage in the next week for industry benchmarks that are really good sounding boards to how practice owners are currently operating their practice.
Wonderful. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for joining us, Gary.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
It's just been lovely. I appreciate you coming out today, and I think our listeners will really appreciate this chat.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk a little bit about the things from a consultancy lens, and always happy to join at a further time as well. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. We hope you found the episode insightful and helpful.
Remember to visit our website at wellnesscentercreators.com for show notes, additional episodes, and more resources to help you on your wellness center journey.
We always love hearing from our listeners. Your feedback, questions, and experiences are invaluable to us and help us shape the content we create.
So please don't hesitate to reach out to us anytime. You can contact us through our website or via social media. We're here to support you.
If you know someone who could benefit from the information and insights shared on this podcast, please take a moment to share the show with them. Together, we can help more health and wellness professionals create thriving practices.
Thank you again for tuning in and for being part of a Wellness Center Creators community. Your dedication to providing exceptional patient care is truly inspiring.
We can't wait to share more with you in the next episode. Until then, keep creating, innovating, and making a difference in your patients' lives. See you next time on the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.